I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming.
Hey everyone, my name is Ivica.
podcast.
Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I Am Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, and many more cool things I find to be in the same realm of business and creative ventures. Like always, a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. You really make this podcast possible. I say that every time. This is episode 72, and I mean it every time. Everyone else, please check out all of my patrons' cool ventures, YouTube channels, games, and so much more in the description below. Links are right there. All of them deserve your visit. If you too would like to support me on Patreon, please check out my page on that service as well. So like I said, this is episode 72, and I'm going to talk about really something that's happening in the media right now, something that you probably heard of, and that's the Suez Canal blockage, obstruction, however you want to call it, the situation where a huge ship ran aground because of a wind, because of some bad luck moment, and basically blocked somewhere around 12% of global trade in a single moment, in a single event. For some weird reason, they can't get it unstuck, and the boat is still there, blocking hundreds of ships, blocking a lot of traffic and a lot of trade, creating, as far as I know, somewhere around $50 billion worth of damage at present moment, which is kind of insane and really unnerving, and at the same time a huge lesson for all of us. When something unexpectedly happens to your venture, I'm going to talk about the business aspect of a moment like that, because that's a moment when your well thought out business venture hits a wall suddenly, unexpectedly, not because you did something wrong, but because the fate, the stars, the flying spaghetti monsters were not on your side that day. That happens to everyone. It already happened to you a bunch of times, and it will happen to you again. So there's no way to avoid it. It simply occurs. Bad luck, stars are unaligned, the science is working against you, whatever you want to call it. It's still there, it still packs a huge punch for you and your venture, and there's no means of making sure it will never happen. Like in this case, in the Suez, the canal was expanded to allow ships like that to pass, but a huge gust of wind suddenly appears. The navigators, who are experienced, still couldn't save the ship from hitting one of the banks and getting stuck. That is the reality of the physical universe we live in. But your objective is not to make sure that you never run aground, that your personal Suez Canal remains open every time, all of the time. It's what to do when it gets stuck. So here it's essential that you understand your options, even if the worst comes to the stage and happens in a way that is putting your venture, let's keep it on the business plane, putting your venture in huge jeopardy. This case, in the Suez Canal case, that means each of those ships that's now waiting for the canal to get unstuck, unblocked, is in the dark. If that's going to take 1 day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, or who knows how long. They have the option of going around Africa and doing the same trip some 15 or 10 or 15 days longer, if I'm not mistaken, for more money, but still getting results no matter what. Getting their cargo on the destination where it's wanted no matter what. Your objective is to say to yourself, okay, the canal is not getting unstuck, we need to go around, we need to take the longer route, because that's the safest play in this situation. Yes, it will cost you more, but you will avert disaster. And if they get the canal unstuck tomorrow and everyone else goes through, you'll probably feel like a fool for wasting that money, but you won't risk getting destroyed by that situation and seeing your venture simply crash and burn. When catastrophic things happen, and they will in any business, the objective is to keep going, not to take the least amount of damage through potential scenarios where you risk even further damage or even mortal damage to your venture. Instead, simply take on the safer route and make it costlier, make it longer, but assure that you'll get the results you're looking for. That's essential here. So whatever that situation might be, don't be the ship that is hanging about, waiting and hoping that the canal gets unstuck as fast as possible. Be the other ship that goes around, takes the safer option, make sure that your venture stays on its feet and that it can resume its journey despite this catastrophic occurrence. If you want to risk it, of course, you should think about that option as well, but always know that it is a risk, while in the second option, playing it safe, going the long route, going the more expensive route, it's not a risk. You're simply choosing to go for safety instead of riskier but less costly options. In my experience, in my view, the less risky or the safer option you have on your disposal, the better your outcome is likely going to be. So when your canal gets stuck, when your canal gets blocked by a catastrophic event, take your ship and sail around Africa. Do it safe, do it secure, but make sure it gets there. That's all for episode 72. It was more introspective, psychological overview of the mentality of when things go wrong, and they go wrong in a pretty drastic fashion, what to do and how to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for sticking through till the very end. I really appreciate it. Consider supporting me on Patreon, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and consider leaving a like or a comment. I would love to get in touch. That's all for me. My name is Ivica. Thank you once again for being on I Am Gaming Podcast recent episode, and I'll see you in precisely 7 days. Until then, bye bye.